Hi, I'm Jane and I love food and I love cooking, especially when I'm in the kitchen cooking with my beautiful son, Eddie, who is a head chef. Now we are supporting the Norwood, Payne and St Peters Council with their Food Secrets program, which is all about shopping locally. And we're going to make some beautiful dessert. We're calling it
the Avanti Lemon Curd Cannoli.
And that's because the cannoli shells have come from Avanti Pasticceria, and David has handmade them. He's there at Glint and he's made those beautiful cases for us, but we're going to fill them with a delicious lemon curd that Eddie's going to whip up for us.
So this is a pretty straightforward lemon curd recipe. There's a few components to it, but the execution is quite simple. So we're going to zest about half our lemons and juice them, and then in the same bowl we're going to add our egg yolks and whole eggs, sugar, corn flour. We're then going to cook that out over a medium heat until it's nice and thick. Take it off the heat, add in our cold butter, let it set in the fridge, and then we just need to fill up these with the curd. So it's a good, straightforward, easy sort of dessert to really impress your guests with.
And it's going to look spectacular because we're going to decorate them with those gorgeous raspberries, which have come from 4 Seasons Fresh, as the lemons did as well. So how do we start?
So I'm going to get you zesting 3 of these beautiful lemons into this bowl here, and then we need to juice all 5 of them.
Okay, beautiful.
Would you like me to zest?
He thinks I'm really slow, but you know, he works in the professional kitchen. Yeah, maybe you should do it because you're much faster than me. Look at it, off he goes. Oh, that smell, that zesty lemon smell. It's just so fresh. It's one of my favorite smells. They're such a beautiful color. It's such a bright, happy color.
So I'm just passing them through a sieve just to catch any pips. If you do have a lemon squeezer, use one of those, they're great too. If you want to be thorough, this needs 510 grams of juice. So I'm going to guess that that's about that. And I've gone 5 lemons because they're big, but if you have those really small sort of out of season lemons, or if for whatever reason the pith is big, and you just weigh it up, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. Well, we're then going to add our 6 egg yolks and our 2 whole eggs. So next we're going to add our sugar and our corn flour and whisk that in. Now it's also important to remember that obviously lemons are a natural product, so the amount of sugar in them can vary. So if you taste your curd before you've cooked it and it's not sweet enough, you can add a little bit more sugar because your lemons might be more sour than they were 2 months ago. It
probably depends on how much sunlight they've had, because exposure to the sun helps them to make sugar. It's like grapes, you know, the grapes get more sun and then they start to become sweeter.
So we're ready to cook now. You just want to taste that, rub it with your finger. So I think it's sweet enough. It's quite lemony.
Yeah, beautiful.
So we're going to chuck that on. It is important that you have good control over your heat because it's kind of like cooking a fragile scrambled eggs. So I'm using a rubber spatula, which I really like to use because it allows you to get right into the corners of the pot. A lot of the time you might be making something like this and whisking it, and then you go to pour it off and you realize your corners are completely caught and completely burnt. So if you have a look, I'm quite consistent.
Making like waves.
Well, I'm just consistent with the way I wipe the pot. So I'm sort of going in the corners and then I'm going completely across the bottom every time.
Now that's an interesting shaped spatula. Like is it a special one that you've got?
Well, it's like a spoon spatula.
Yeah. I've never seen that before.
Oh, really? I believe I got this from Mini Max on the parade.
Okay. Oh, the parade. My shirt today is from the parade, from Aqua. Can you believe that? Like we're just really shopping local here.
So we're just not stopping mixing. I'm always getting into those corners. So Mum, I've got lemon juice and zest in here. I want to be able to get like a full round of lemon flavor without only adding the juice, which is really acidic. So you know the zest is quite lemony, but it doesn't have that acid like the juice does. And
then the textures are going to be balanced up with the raspberries, which are very sweet, almost a tart sweetness, aren't they?
Yeah, these have been fried, so they're quite kind of rich. This is quite rich, so it's nice to have something fresh, and also they look very pretty on the end. So once this comes off in the freezer, I have a plate already chilling. So I'm going to pour it onto that plate, and then I'm going to put a sheet of cling film on it so it doesn't get a skin, and that's going to help it cool down quickly. So see how that's getting more silky and it's less juice-like?
And that's the eggs cooking in it.
And the corn flour.
Are we going to strain it, or?
We will strain it.
Yeah, that will help.
Also to get that zest out, because the zest will sort of have done its job.
Okay, so we're going to actually remove that. So how do you know when it's actually cooked through?
It will reach what's called ribbon stage. So when you're dragging your utensil through it, it'll leave ribbons in the mixture.
Like an indentation. And that's called ribbon stage.
Yeah. So we'll take it just past there, because obviously we want it to set hard enough where it's going to be able to hold its shape, but then we also don't want it to taste eggy, where if we overcook it, it'll taste eggy. So you notice for all of that, I use a spatula that instead of a whisk. That's just to keep being able to scrape down the sides of the pot. Now we're going to add in our cold butter, and that's going to enrich in it and also help cool it down.
Okay.
So now we're just folding that butter through, and then Mum, I'll get you to grab that strainer we had before. So this is a 2-man job, or a mother and son job.
Okay.
You're going to hold the strainer above this plate, and I'm going to pour it in.
Wow. Oh, look at that. It looks amazing. And the smell is absolutely delicious.
So that's removing any lumps and any of that zest that's left over. So just spread it out evenly. And then we're going to put a sheet of cling film on it, but make sure it's actually in contact with the curd. So if you're cooling down something hot, you don't want to cover it because it creates condensation, and obviously that's going to
And it will sweat.
it'll sweat. Whereas
Yep.
if you do this, it won't sweat and it will stop it getting a skin. That's it. So we'll let that cool in the fridge. Depending on your batch size, this will probably take 30 minutes to an hour to cool down before we can pipe it.
Okay, can't wait.
All right, Mum, so our lemon curd has been in the fridge for about 90 minutes. You can leave it in there overnight, but you know, a good hour to 90 minutes is the minimum.
Looks beautiful. It's so bright yellow.
Yeah.
It's fantastic
So
colour.
as you can see, it's really set up. So it's got a good body to it. So it's going to hold really nicely in our cannoli. So I'm just going to put it in the bowl because it's a bit easier to grab
Easier to manage.
than if it was on the plate. So the other reason we put it on the plate like that is so it spreads with a bigger surface area, and then it's quicker to cool down once again. So now all that's left to do is to fill the cannoli with the curd. We're going to garnish with a couple of raspberries and then just some icing sugar.
It's pretty easy, isn't it?
Pretty straightforward.
And once again, like, we're trying to encourage families to get involved in cooking together, or housemates, you know, you might share with a couple of mates and say, okay, what are you doing Saturday afternoon? Let's make some beautiful lemon curd cannoli.
So as you can see, I'm sort of dropping it in there and then kind of letting gravity do its job to fill it up, and then just swiping it off a little bit.
And raspberries are just beautiful.
Especially this time of, like, you know, in the warmer months, they're really good.
Oh, wow. Have a look at that. That looks so cool, doesn't it? What are the other fillings you can put inside of a cannoli?
So you could do like a sweetened ricotta. You could make like a creme patissiere, like a thickened custard. You can make like a chocolate creme patissiere.
Yeah,
you can
chocolate would be nice.
Yeah, with the custard fillings, you can sort of be pretty creative with what you want to add to it. David also makes a few out of the shop. He does like a Snickers one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Wouldn't it? One more on top.
And there we go.
So we just really generously icing sugar all of those. So here's our Avanti lemon curd cannoli. Let's give it a crack.
Oh, wow. How do I tackle it?
You're just gonna have to pick it up in one go and give it a chomp.
Eddie,
Those shells are so crisp, aren't they?
the shells are so crunchy and the lemon curd is so soft and yummy. Those cannoli shells are just absolutely fantastic.
Aren't they?
We had so much fun making this. It's all part of Food Secrets and the Norwood Payne of St Peter's Council. Give it a try, make it at home, and have fun cooking with your friends and family.